What's good, guys? It's your boy JP here. You're watching In the Box. Today got Coach CJ with me.
What up, man? It's been a long time coming,
Right.
man. We've been wanting to do.
Yeah, we've been trying to do this for a minute now, and our schedule is finally aligned. And
It happened.
yeah, exactly. Yo. So let's start off with so how long you been boxing for now, and how'd you get into it?
I started boxing at like 17, 18 years old at Cabbagetown Boxing Club downtown, and ever since then, it's been a part of my life. You know, I've tried a lot of things. I've taken a lot of different avenues, but boxing was the most consistent thing in my life from like 17 all the way up to now. Like I'm turning 34 in like 3 weeks. So I'd say over a decade, you know what I mean? For sure. And it's funny because boxing is the kind of thing that you don't realize how long you've been doing it until people ask you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even when I look back, I'm like, holy crap, like all those years went by, but that's how long I've been doing it for, you know?
And what's like a misconception you think people have about boxing? Like,
I think the biggest misconception that a lot of people have when it comes to the sport of boxing in general is that everyone can hit hard.
yeah,
And I think once you start to realize that muscles don't actually get you to hit hard, it's the technique and the punch that gets you to hit hard, then you start to realize that all that muscle in your body, it doesn't actually allude to anything. Like I got guys who used to come to the gym all the time, big dudes, all bulked up. Like, yeah, I could fight anybody. I said, really? No problem. Come and spar me. Like, really? Like, I got 30 pounds here. I said, no problem. I'm not worried. By the time they throw the first, like, 5 or 6 punches, they're already gassed out in that air because all that muscle, all that power they're trying to put in those punches, you know? So people have to understand that boxing is a technique. Like, it's a dance.
Yeah, it really is. Like since training with you, I realized, like, the power really does come from that weight transfer, switching.
Yeah.
It's like, the technique is really important. That's where, like, most of the power comes from.
That's where everything comes from, you know, and a lot of times is like everybody learns that at a different stage on their journey. Like I've trained people that I learned in the first 2 months. I've trained it for people that I learned in the first 6 months. Like that weight transfer, your ability to transfer weight and not focus so much on your hands. I always tell people while I'm training with them, I always say, you know, your hands are just a consequence of your hip rotation.
Yeah.
You know, you can throw every punch with your hip and your shoulders, and your hands are just the connection point.
Yeah.
You know, so I've learned that everyone learns things a different way, and it takes me time to figure out how their brain receives information.
Yeah.
Like the way I train you isn't the way I train everybody else. Everything is so like individualized. You know, that's why I don't run like huge, big classes and stuff like that, because I can't cookie cut this.
Yeah.
You know, you can't cookie cut the system. Because again, the way you're going to learn, the way you're going to receive it is different from 5 other people. You know what I mean? So it's very individual.
Good. And even like learning for you, like it really is all about the feet and the hips. Like the hands are last.
Yeah.
Like
The hands are the last.
I think that's people always think it's all the hands, but it's not. It's really not.
You gotta, you know, it's like building a house. You gotta build the foundation first.
Exactly.
You know? You gotta build the foundation. You gotta build the basement. You gotta dig that out. You gotta be solid in your feet. You know, I think a lot of people that actually want to learn this sport, I'll give a lot of coaches credit. They do teach them the feet first. You know, I see a lot of videos talking about, you know, coaches they always train the hands first. But I think there's a lot of, you know, good coaches out there that understand that footwork is the fundamental and the basis of boxing in any combat sport, really and truly. You know, I rarely have seen a coach that just trains hands.
Yeah.
You know, unless people are just doing it just for fitness purposes. Yeah. But even at that point, you know, just for them to throw the punch correctly,
you need the proper stance.
Need the proper stance. You know what I mean? So I think we don't give people enough credit for that. You know, so I never talk down about other coaches and their application on the sport and how they want to do it. But I always stay true to me and what works for me, and I'm always open to critique. You know, move as I go.
What's the biggest thing you learned so far as being a coach?
I was actually telling this client of mine the other day, one of the biggest things that I've learned is that the people that come into my gym that have no experience at all in any combat sport, in any sport at all, they are a direct reflection of my ability to teach. Mm-hmm. So someone who comes in here that I teach from the jump, let's say, and they've never done any sport, they've never even like thrown a ball.
Yeah.
If after a few months they understand their positioning, their foundation, how to throw a jab, how to read people, even get into competition, then I know for myself that that's proof of purchase for myself. Yeah. That's proof of my abilities to teach. And it's also proof that no matter whether you have a combat background or you don't, all you need is the right coach.
Yeah.
You know, all you need is the right person to really just put time into, sacrifice time for you. And at the end of the day, like, you'll get results. It's never really been about winning for me. Sorry if I'm going on a tangent.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's never really about winning for me. It's always been about the performance.
Yeah.
Like, can you do the things that we've been training? You can go out there and lose your first like 10 amateur fights.
Yeah.
I don't care for that.
Yeah.
What I care is performance.
Yeah.
Right? Some of the best world champions in the world lost their first, like,
Yeah, a few fights. Yeah.
you know, few fights. It doesn't, a loss is merely just a lesson.
Yeah.
And so I always try to convey that to my fighters and convey that to people who want to eventually compete, is performance, right? Can you do what we've been training?
Yeah.
Okay, you did. We lost the fight, whatever, we'll move on to next. But you did what we were training. And that's what it comes down to.
Talk about boxing. So boxing has come back a long way now. Like, it's up there again. Like, I think it died down for a little bit, but it's back now. Who do you think is like your favorite fighter right now?
Oh, my favorite fighter has been the same fighter for the past, like, I'd say like 4 years. So it's definitely got to be Terrence Crawford.
Terrence Crawford?
Just his ability to do everything really well.
Yeah.
Like, he's not super strong in one area, but he can do everything.
Yeah, he is.
So he's strong. He can bang on the inside and go orthodox, southpaw. He can become a counterpuncher. He can become a slugger. He can move his feet. Like, he can do a little bit of everything. And I think that's unique in a lot of fighters these days. And he's not afraid of fighting people as well, too, you know. I think a lot of fighters, we were talking about this the other day. The fight scene in the fight, how do I say this? People who are fans of boxing sometimes don't realize that there are conversations happening in rooms that we don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, there is so much money behind these fighters that we complain about. And when I say we, I'm just generalizing. Oh, this person's not fighting that person. Oh, this guy's ducking. This guy's ducking. This guy's ducking. You don't know
what's
kind of
behind the scenes,
conversations behind the scenes. You don't know that those guys have been in camp with each other for the past 4 months. So your camp doesn't want to fight my camp, regardless of the money on the table. They know each other too well.
Yeah.
They got to give some time. You don't know the amount of money that's on the table. You don't know how many sponsors are on these tables. So I always tell people, like, unless you're at that level, you know, it's almost like your opinion doesn't matter. Now, a lot of these other platforms, they bank off our opinions, and people thinking that this person is ducking this person ducking that. If I'm a pound for pound best fighter in the world, it's not about ducking anybody. Is the money right?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, like, is the money right?
Yeah, that's what Canelo says.
Yeah.
He has nothing to prove anymore. It's just about the money now at this point.
And even people saying Canelo's ducking everybody, like, who is he ducked?
Yeah, he's fought so many people. Triple G.
He's fought so many people on the highest level, and it's like we're never satisfied. And God forbid, like, you know, a fighter with 0 fights ends up losing a fight, and all of a sudden we think his career is over.
Right? Yeah, I hate that.
It's only in boxing do we think losing is the end of your career.
It's not, bro. Yeah.
UFC, you can lose like 5 fights. Your fans are still your fans.
Yeah.
Your people are still supporting you. They're still like, yeah, I got back in there. I can't. That was an amazing fight. Boxing, it's like, oh, you're a bum now.
Right? Yeah,
like,
I hate that.
It makes no sense. But I realize it comes from a lot of people that are just ignorant of the sport and ignorant what it takes to
very casual fans.
The casual fans. And that's fine. At the end of the day, we need the casual fans too, because they pay for pay-per-views.
Exactly, yeah.
And you know what I mean? And these companies bank off that. So I think Floyd said it best. He goes, whether you want me to win or whether you want me to lose, you're gonna pay to watch. You know, so I get that from that standpoint. You know, it's just such a weird idea that because you lose, your career is over.
Right, it shouldn't be, because like even like there's a few fights where, like, for example, the Canelo versus Caleb Plant fight. I became a huge fan of Caleb Plant after that fight. Like, he showed his heart.
I remember at that point, Caleb Plant did like the best against Canelo. Like, he took it all the way into 11th round. And then finally Canelo's like, okay, I gotta put this guy away. Plant was moving well. He was outboxing him. He's landing the shots. It's just when he got caught in the corner, where he got caught in those ropes, Canelo started to close the distance, walk him down as he does. Then Canelo started to lay his offense on him. But Caleb did amazing. Yeah,
out of all the belts, it's nice that he was the last belt and he was the hardest belt to get.
He really was. Even Caleb versus Benavidez.
Yeah, that was an amazing fight.
I think that was one of the real grudge fights. Like, them two guys really don't like each other at all. Like, I actually think they didn't like each other. But that was a great fight. You know what I mean? Is Caleb Plant's career over?
No, he has a fight coming up soon.
There's a fight coming up that, he's on the undercard of Canelo.
Oh, he is?
Yeah. Did you see the press conference? Canelo's What's his name? The guy who's fighting Canelo. I can't remember his name.
I don't remember his name either.
But yeah, he was telling Caleb, he was talking crap. He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna get knocked out like Caleb. And Caleb got up and started talking back, and Canelo goes, don't worry, Plant, I get him for you. Yeah. I take care of him for you. Don't you fucking worry. Yeah. I'm like, man, Canelo, like,
I like how Canelo's been talking a lot lately too, because like even his last fight, he's like, I wanted to prove I could go all 12 rounds to show my skill.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've seen this one. He's telling the guys like, yo, I'm gonna bring you pain for 8 rounds, then I'm knocking you out.
He's done. And it's funny because I can't remember the guy. I can't believe we can't remember the guy's name, but I think Munguia did a great job.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Like, even though he got clipped, I think it was the 6th or the 7th with like a rear uppercut. But he did great against Canelo. Like, he went 12 rounds. Regardless, I remember at one point even Canelo looked at him like, man, this guy.
Yeah, he's still staying up.
He's still trading with me, like, for real. Like, and and it's funny, like, let's say he lost that fight, people would be like, oh, you know, Canelo's slowing down, Canelo's this, Canelo's that. People don't realize boxing is one of the few sports that in your 30s, you're still considered in your prime. If you haven't been in these wars where you're getting in there and you're trading shot for shot and your face is getting all damaged up, you're taking all this damage, 30, you're still good.
Yeah, Terence Crawford's older than Canelo, and he's in his prime right now.
I think Crawford, 36, 36?
Yeah, I think he's like 2 years older, I think.
Yeah, so it's like we got to remember that these guys don't, number one, they're not fighting 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah, exactly.
They're fighting maybe once, maybe twice a year. Yeah. Canelo, big shout out to him. He fights out.
He fights like twice a year.
He fights like twice a year. You know what I mean? So people can't say that Canelo's duggy. He's not fighting who you want him to fight.
Exactly.
Right now.
Yeah, but he's giving these guys a chance.
That's it. I said it once. I'm like, yo, Canelo is like the Drake of like.
Right now he is right now.
He's 100%. Like he's at the top, at the point where it's like, okay, you a young up-and-comer. Come, let me just feature you on this card. You know, it's like me. It's like you're getting a feature track from him. You're like, you're gonna make your money. You're gonna be hella famous after. Win, lose, or draw, or knockout. Everyone's gonna want to see your next fight because you fought Canelo.
And everyone's going after Canelo like everyone's going after Drake. It's like
that's it. That's it.
Really
so you always have to gauge who's at the who's at the top of the hierarchy just based on all the negative energy.
Yeah, they get it. Yeah.
Because at the top, that's it. Yeah. That's when you know everyone's coming after you. You know what I mean? So. But who's your favorite right now, though?
Right now, I gotta say Tank, yo. I love the way he fights, bro. I think, and people sleep on how talented he is. Like, his skill level is up there. I believe that. But people just think he's a knockout artist, but he's way more than that.
Well, even you just said it best. He's a knockout artist.
Yeah.
You know, it takes an IQ to really knock somebody out.
Yeah.
Now, I even his last fight against Frank Martin, he just basically tired him out.
Yeah.
He took a bit of a beating. Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, he did.
He did, yeah.
He took a bit of a beating in those first few rounds, which he always does. And then eventually he realizes that you're getting tired and he gets you against ropes and he knocks you out. Yeah. How long that's going to last, I don't know.
Yeah.
2 people I always thought wouldn't lose anytime soon was Tank and Devin Haney. Yeah. Devin Haney, we all know what happened to him. Yeah. That was a huge controversy.
Yeah.
I still think it was a solid win for Ryan Garcia, despite all the other, like, I don't get caught in the hoopla. I just look at it as like, yo, he caught him. Lost a loss. And even the whole Devin Haney thing, like, everyone's talking crazy about Devin Haney. Oh, Devin Haney's a shitty boxer. He finally lost, or he got wobbled, did this, that, and third. People don't realize, again, there are conversations happening in rooms that we know nothing about. These guys are still in the gym. These guys are getting right back on the horse. These guys are getting their mind right. I guarantee, you can even quote me on it, Devin's next fight, he's gonna come out and he's gonna have a great performance.
100%, yeah.
And it's gonna be so sad to hear everyone be like, "Oh, Devin, he's bad. Oh, Devin, he always had." Like, you guys were just hating on him because he lost to somebody.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And to Ryan, and like, Ryan's a great fighter. He sold that shit amazing.
Yeah, the man was getting the hype up for that fight.
He sold that fight amazingly. I was like, Ryan, my guy, you do your thing, because that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand.
They're trying to sell the fight. They're trying to get people to tune in.
It's like, you don't sell the fight. You sell the propaganda behind the fight. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then the fight is even bigger. Those guys are friends. Like,
yeah, they've known each other since they were teenagers. Yeah,
since like forever. Like, those guys are friends. They just said, "Yo, we're gonna make some money.
Yeah,
I'm gonna talk some crazy shit.
Yeah,
you're gonna talk some crazy shit.
And we're gonna go crazy. Yeah,
and this is how it's gonna go. You know, so it's great, man. It's great. Yeah, Tank is definitely a good choice though.
No. I want to see Tank versus Devin, Tank versus Shakur. I think that division is one of the best divisions right now in boxing.
Yeah. Even if we just touch on Shakur real quick, like, a lot of people don't like his style because they feel like he's boring, or they feel like he doesn't sit down and slug and trade people. Like, Since when was it cool to get hit? Like, I thought the whole gist of the sport was hit and not get hit. Like, Shakur is a slick southpaw fighter, and he picks his shots, and he picks you apart. If it goes 12 rounds and people think it's boring, well, then maybe you should just watch UFC or watch CCW or something like that's just like overly top. Like, if you want to watch the sport in all of its beauty and all of the purity of what it needs to be of hit and not get hit, then you watch guys like Shakur. They used to say the same thing about Bernard Hopkins too.
Yeah,
that guy was hella boring. He ain't knocking out nobody. He's getting.
But look, he's still good at his age.
But he's still looking good at his age. He's still walking good at his age. He's still talking good at his age.
And why? He's one of the oldest champions of all time too, right?
Yeah,
he was champion at like 44.
Yep. He's the oldest champion of all time. And at the end of the day, it's because those guys knew how to conserve their body. Yeah. Bernard said it himself. He would go there. He would train. He would fight. And as soon as the fight ended, win, lose, or draw, he'd be back in his hotel inside in a cold shower, because just to revitalize his body, like he kept his body up. You know what I mean? So people have to understand, like at the end of the day, the sport will treat you the way you treat it.
Yeah.
And if Shakur wants to go out there and outbox all his opponents, then I'm cool with it. I'll watch that. I'll watch that shit all day. The true fans, the people who really love the sport,
they'll watch and love it.
They'll watch it. Everyone else is like, oh, he's boring. Oh, I slept through his fight. Okay, well,
it's not for you.
It's not for you. Like, fighters don't have to always appease the fans, although the fans is the reason why they're getting so much money. It's like your true core fans will come out and support you regardless.
Yes.
So.
Talking about the old fighters like Bernard Hopkins, who's your favorite fighter of all time? Or like, give me a top 4. Give me your Mount Rushmore. Top 4 fighters of all time.
My Mount Rushmore. Okay, I got that. No, in no particular order.
In no order, yeah. Just top 4.
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali. Andre Ward. Oh. And
Andre Ward's a sleeper, yo. People sleep on him, bro.
Well, people slept on his career. His career kind of ended.
It was short
sooner than it needed to. But if you go back,
but his skill level is on a different level.
His skill level, his IQ is just number 4. Man, I don't know. I went through the first 3 so fast. Before Manny Pacquiao.
Ooh, that's my guy.
And I say Manny because it's almost less of his skill and more what he represents for his country. Even Muhammad Ali, it's like less his skill and more what he represented for the people. Like they were definitely bigger than boxing.
Boxing, yeah.
You understand? 100%. So that's why they're on.
You were Muhammad Ali on your shirt too.
Yeah. Shout out to Body by Chosen. That's some shit right here. But yeah, that's why it's like they were for the people. They were for the people, for real. Like, they were bigger than boxing. And if I could add one more face on my Mount Rushmore,
honorable mention,
I gotta put Terrence Crawford up there. Like, I could watch Terrence Crawford in slow motion, and learn from him. Like, just his small little micro movements, and how he sets his shit up, and how he's just looking in there, and how he's looking there. Like, it's crazy. Like, his IQ is, that's what I like. I like IQ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I want to watch a slugfest, and I'll watch a Pitbull Cruz, I'll watch an old school Mexican fighter. Watch Tito Trinidad. I'll watch, guys that will go in there and bang.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you gotta know your style. You gotta know your style.
Yeah, that's the boxing is all about styles, right? Styles makes fights.
Styles make fights. Styles make fights. Each and every single time.
I am an action guy, so like my top 4, I got Manny Pacquiao, of course.
Yes, sir.
It's my guy. Second, I would have to go Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Classic.
Mike Tyson was an era.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson was an era. Yeah.
Like pre jail Mike Tyson in his prime, when he was just knocking everybody out.
Yeah.
Insane. Yeah. And then third, I'd have to go. Canelo is up there for me. I can't even lie. Canelo has gotten up there for me.
Canelo's done his work in the game.
Right. And fourth, that's a tough one.
See, you got to think about it.
Yeah, you got to think of the fourth. Yeah, the fourth is...
it's crazy. We talk about this all the time in our sessions, too.
I don't know if I want to go like with an older fighter or... I might...
feel like you're going to go old school.
Yeah, I might go old school, yo.
Go old school.
I might have to go with... Oof, this is actually tough.
I told you. I went through my first 3 and I was like, wait a minute. Who is number 4? Like, who is it really?
I'm gonna go Leonard.
Ooh, that's a good choice.
Leonard is just,
That's a
so
good choice.
fast.
That's
like,
solid. He's probably all around one of like definitely one of the greatest
yeah.
to ever lace up a pair of gloves for sure,
Right.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, and he had like fights that are known, you know.
And those guys were going what 15 rounds back.
Yeah, back in the
Think about that. You're going 15 rounds, and back in the day in those coliseums and in those arenas, like motherfuckers used to be smoking in the arena.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. Like the reason why people even towel people's
Yeah.
faces, you know, they don't realize that it derives from the time where people used to smoke in the arena.
Yeah.
So much
Smoke in the
ring.
and like, oh, I didn't
they
even
would-
factor that
They
in.
would fan their fighter so the smoke will move away from their
Yeah.
face. Now you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
There's no smoke in it. But that's where it came from originally. There'd be so much smoke all in these arenas that they would need to actually fan the smoke away because they're inhaling that shit in the corner. So imagine that. You're running your miles, you're doing your work only to fight in an arena where people could smoke. Like, like it was such a different time back then.
Yeah.
That's why it's challenging for people to compare back then to now. I think we need to appreciate the eras for what they
are
brought to the table.
Yeah.
And it'll help us appreciate what's now and how we move forward. You know, everyone's like, oh, I like old school boxing. Okay, well, I like old school wrestling.
Yeah.
I like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. But those guys aren't wrestling anymore.
Yeah.
So it's either I like what's now or I don't like what's now. I appreciate it, but I don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the era for what it was. You know.
Yeah, so people like to compare too much, and like things evolve. It's different now. Like you gotta appreciate each era for what it is. Like that's I
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Same thing with music too, right? It's like, oh, I like old school music. Okay, what's the old school music?
Yeah.
So much music now is being sampled from
Older. Yeah.
old records, like old records. So, you know, appreciate your era for what it is. Appreciate how it's changed, and if you don't like it right now, that's okay. But you don't have to like, oh shit.
People hate on to hate. Yo, people love hating
People
for
just
some reason.
shit on you because you like the era. Like, yeah, I fuck with this music, or I fuck with this era of boxing, or I fuck with this era of wrestling. Like, this is the era that you like. I know there's certain eras of certain genres that I like. I can go back and watch them at any time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I don't like a certain era of something right now, I just won't watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna shit on everyone else like it because they're the new generation that should like it.
Yeah.
Because things evolve and people need to be put on a new boat and people have to be put on a new energy.
Yeah.
And that's all fine with it, you know. But same thing with boxing too. It's like boxing will never be 15 rounds.
Yeah. It's too dangerous. Yeah.
It's too dangerous. Now a lot of fighters are thinking about longevity. What am I gonna do after my career?
Yeah, it's
You know what I
very
mean?
different because people have seen what happens in the past.
People see what happens. You know, some of these guys won't be able to talk when they're like,
Oh yeah.
not even old, like in their 40s, like they won't have to be able to talk. So it's like they want to make sure they have that longevity, right?
Yeah.
It's not like back in the day where they're fighting 4 times a month and like no. And I don't blame that because you can't play this shit.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, these guys got kids, they got families, they want to be able to have some sort of career. Andre Ward is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
He's been in so many wars, but he has a whole career outside of his career that's still, you know, entirely is connected to boxing, you know. Side note, I wish, I not even wish, just seeing the footage of Andre Ward
Oh, Terrence Crawford sparring. Oh my! I wish they dropped everything.
I know everything, I know, but they couldn't. There was too many things that happened in that spar that they couldn't drop. But like even having those two in the ring, like that is
It's just
like,
beautiful to watch.
that was crazy to watch. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, go ahead, baby.
Yeah, I wish I wish more old fighters sparred, like not super old, but guys who can still like compete today.
Yes.
Yeah,
Can still spar. Well, because a lot of the times too, those guys over sparred, right? Like it wasn't the fights that was getting them; it was the sparring. Like,
yeah, some people sparred way too much.
some people sparred way too much, you know. And you gotta be cognizant. Like this is the human skull we're dealing with.
Yeah,
It can only take so many hits for a certain period of time, for a certain amount of years. And then even if your body doesn't want to and your heart doesn't want to, your mind, your brain will be like, listen, I can't take shots like that anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah. Let's switch it up to, you're a big music guy,
Oh, yeah.
right? I know you're a big Drake fan.
Yeah.
Let's start with, what's your like top 3 Drake albums, yo?
First one, Nothing Was the Same. That's my number one.
Yeah.
And then Nothing Was the Same. If you're reading This Is Too Late and Views, those are my top.
Oh.
My top 3. I know everyone's usually Take Care.
Okay, yeah.
Take Care was great. It's just too like a little too R&B-ish.
Yeah.
But those are my top 3 like Drake albums.
Yeah.
For sure, back to back.
Trust, Views is my number one.
Views is
my number one.
Was crazy. Views was crazy. Views was at a time where it's like,
I think that was Drake's like when he finally cemented himself as like,
this is where I am. Well, even the album cover said it itself.
Yeah, on top of the CN Tower.
Sitting on top of the CN Tower. I remember that years ago I made like an edit of me sitting on top of the CN Tower. Yeah, and I posted it. I was like, oh, I know where you got that shit from. But it was like, it's dope. And there's like even where he is now, right? That's like,
it's crazy how he's still on top of the game.
We haven't seen any. The thing is, I'm at a point now where I'm like, okay, what happens after?
Yeah.
Like, what happens when he goes? Because I believe his career is coming to an end.
Yeah.
But he's gonna do it by choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It won't be because of the whole like Kendrick Lamar.
No, that was not end him. Yeah.
That was a great beef. We loved it on both sides. Like as a hip hop guy, I loved it on both sides.
Yeah.
I love that Kendrick brought the entire West Coast together and East Coast together. They all rapped that record. Like that's kind of beef that we needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These guys are cutting that.
It was good for the rap game.
It was great for the rap game. It was hella entertaining. And now it's gone, and now we're on to next. So it's like, what's next for the hip hop game? You know what I mean? And hip hop is still young. Like it's only been 50 years.
Yeah,
like that's not a long time.
Yeah,
at all. So it'll be very interesting to see where things go from here and how things change. Because if we remove Drake,
like I don't know who's up next.
If we remove Lil Wayne, I think Wayne is my all-time GOAT.
Oh, Wayne's your all-time GOAT?
Wayne is my all-time GOAT. Like I don't think. He's been in so many eras, been making so much music. There was a time when I was in high school, Wayne was dropping a mixtape every week. And I'm talking like 15 records, like on the mixtape.
Yeah.
Like my people know like the mixtape era Weezy days where he was jumping on everybody's beats and he was freestyling. That's one thing. Like he freestyles his verses. I've seen a few documentaries of Weezy and he'd be like, you know, I gotta get people to like write my lyrics for me before I go before. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Oh wow!
Like he's genuinely freestyling his verses, and that's crazy. Even when I watch a lot of documentaries on these guys. Like I love seeing my favorite artists like in their creative zone, which is why I liked the volumes that Drake and OVO dropped of him in the studio and do all that sort of stuff. Because like you get to see your favorite artists in their creative space.
Yeah, it's nice just to see what they do, how they do it. And you just tap into their mind a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when we're shooting our content here, like the way you capture me training is how I've always wanted my training to be captured. It's like people get a piece of my brain through these videos, and it's just like that's what you want to capture, you know. So it's been a great ride for the game this year for sure.
Yeah. Where do you think the rap game is headed? What do you think when Drake is gone? How do you think it's still gonna be?
I think we're gonna see boom bap come back. I think we're gonna see that
some
like old school.
Really? Yeah.
I believe that because I think without somebody sounding so melodic and so like just creative in that sense, we're gonna have to go back to kind of where it started and bring a lot of other conscious rap in. And I think that's why guys like J. Cole are so relevant as well too, because they still kind of have that in their, they still kind of have that approach to the game, you know.
Where it's more about the lyrics than the beat.
Right, where it's almost more about the lyrics. And so, you know, at the end of the day, like, I never consider, like, people always say the big three, like Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole, they're all at the same level based on what they do, based on their genre. It's like I was saying, like, you can't compare, I like Drake over Jake.
Yeah, they're actually all very different.
They're all very different artists in and of itself, so it's very hard to compare.
It's just because they're all in the rap genre.
They're just all in the rap genre, but it's like they all approach the game so differently that you can't dislike one but like the other two. Yeah. It's like you have to like all three of them just for what they do. Even if you don't respect them as an artist, you still hear a record from one of them and that you don't really like, but you're like, yo, this is actually fire. That just goes to show right there.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, man, I love it. So I've always loved the music game. You know, truthfully, I used to make music back in the day too. So it's like embedded in me a little bit. But yeah, man, like I love it. That's why we bring the energy every time we're training. We play the records, and people can feel that energy. You know.
Yeah.
So, actually, I got a question for you.
Oh, go.
So what got you into videography and film and, you know, just doing what you do? Like, I always feel like everyone's inspiration comes from somewhere, and sometimes you need somebody else to ask you what inspired you so you can be remembered, be reminded.
I guess for me, like, I've always loved movies, like, ever since I was a kid. Like, going to the movies has always been my thing. Like, to me, the the movies is such a sacred place because like for that hour, 2 hours, you you don't think about anything else. You're really in there. You know, it's like it gives you this like I feel like film and movies and like videos is a mix of all art forms. You know, because you got the visual, you got the music.
Yes.
Like it has everything, and like if something can make you feel something like that, I think that's what the art is about, you know?
Yes, I agree.
So I just want to...
It's like the taking away. It's like it takes away from everything else,
yeah.
and all you see is there. Because even like the way you shoot my stuff, like how much I appreciate you. That's why I was sending you random messages throughout the day. I'm like, bro, I love you.
Yeah.
Because the way you capture me training, sometimes I'm watching and I'm like, whoa, like this looks like a movie, like for real. Like, you know what I mean? And it's all genuine.
Yeah.
Everything is genuine. Nothing is forced. Nothing is like created. Okay, we're gonna shoot this. You just watch me and you just shoot the right angle.
Yeah,
so
I try to see for like my eyes, like how can I make this look like it's a movie?
Yeah.
Everything like anything boring can look amazing. Like
it's true. It's
you just gotta have that right angle, that right spine.
Yes.
Like,
Even the way you move it, sometimes you know you make those subtle movements. So like I was telling you the other day, like when you send me the footage afterward, I look at the footage. I'm like, man, this is a movie. Like I'm watching like this. I'm like, I did that. I'm like, that's what it looks like. Like it just looks. You capture it so well, bro. So like, I appreciate you. So I always like just pick your brain. Like you know, wherever you get your inspiration from, never forget that shit because there's gonna come times in your journey where it's like, not that you're gonna forget, but you'll forget how far you came.
Yeah.
You'll forget why you started because you've been going so long with so much success that you forget.
Right.
You know what I mean? You get so caught up in the creativity of it and what's next and what's next and what's next. You kind of forget how you started.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell people like there's this one post on my Instagram that I'll never take down. You know, no matter where my career takes me. And it's my very first post. So my very first client, me and him just skipping outside in the winter. Yeah. Very first person that sat there and said, here, I'm going to give you $50 for your hour and train me boxing. Because I would need to remind myself at times too, when the road gets rocky or it gets stagnant or it just hits a plateau, which are all normal things along the journey, that this is where I started.
Yeah.
There was a time where you wanted to do what you're doing now.
Yeah. There's that quote I seen the other day where I posted it. It's like 5 years ago, you wish where you you are where you what the fuck?
You are where you are. No, I know what you're saying. You are where you're doing what you wanted to do 5 years
ago. Yeah.
Basically. And it's crazy because that's what it is in hindsight, right? Like you end up manifesting actually what you want. It's just not in the way you want it.
Yeah.
It's just not in the complete way that you wanted to dial it out. And so that's why I always say like, yo, I just want to always remember like how I started, where I started.
Exactly. It's crazy to think.
Always remember where you came from. Always remember like where you started and what inspired you, you know?
Yeah, because we're always looking for the next. Sometimes you got to take a step back, just be grateful for where you are now. Because
that's it. Because a lot of people aren't. Like I said, like the fact that we have the autonomy to even do this, like it's like almost 12:30 on a Friday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're just chilling in the gym. We're doing some content. Like we got to appreciate the fact that we can do this.
Yeah, the freedom we have.
The freedom we have in order to attract what it is that we desire coming forward. We need to appreciate like for real like what we have now. Like I got homies that call me all the time, and it'll be like 11 a.m. in the morning or like 2 p.m. I'm like, yo, what are you saying? I'm like, oh no, I'm just relaxing with my daughters in the backyard. And they're like, bro, like,
I wish I could do that.
And right now, I'm like, yeah, we're just chilling. Meanwhile, while I'm chilling with her, I got all this shit in my head because I'm like, I got to figure this out. I got to do this. I got to do this. And they're just be like, bro, that's amazing. Like, just live in the moment.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like, I forget.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that as
know
well.
What I'm saying? I forget. I'm like, man, it's like 2 p.m. I'm like, yo, I got to be doing this. I got to be doing that. When really I should just be like present.
Yeah.
Just in the moment because.
It's that hustle mindset we have. Sometimes we got to turn it off.
You have to because you go to other places in the world. And I'm not that I've traveled a lot, but I've just heard people's stories from other places. Like, there's so much more relaxed. Like if what we're doing is for us, then we shouldn't be so like attached to like, oh my God, I gotta get it. Because sometimes you can hold on to something so much that you choke it to death.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to kind of let go a little bit and be like, and just trust the process. Yeah. Walk by faith, not by sight.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I desire. This is where I am. This is how far I've come. I'm way closer to what I desire, to what I want. So you know what? There's gonna be moments where I'm just gonna chill back. I'm just gonna relax.
Yeah, you need your breaks because you'll tire yourself out.
And it'll show in your work.
Yeah.
It'll show when I'm training you guys. It'll show when I'm spending time with my daughter. It'll show when I'm out. Like, you know what I mean?
You're not fully there.
I'm not fully there. I'm not fully. And for me, you know me, two things about CJ: time and just be here, just be present. Like, I need to be present. If I'm not present with people, and I already got freaking ADHD already, my mind can go over here. So it's like, if I'm not present with people or my fighters, or on a Tuesday or on a Thursday night, like, if I am not fully 100% here, they're not getting my full gift.
Yeah.
Like, they're not getting the version of me that's coming. Like, I need to be it before I am it. And that's why people think I'm weird as hell, because I'm loud and shit. But like, I know what's coming.
Yeah.
Like, I know what's coming. I told you one day I'm gonna message you, JP, and I'm like, yo, we're flying out.
Oh yeah.
Like, we were leaving for like 3 days, and like that, it's just gonna happen. Like, opportunities are gonna come because we continue to do the work. So never feel like you can't just sit and just chill with your girl and not be like in here and be like, oh, what's next? What do I got to do? Just relax.
Just enjoy the moment.
Just enjoy the moment. Just let it go. And while I tell you this, I'm telling myself this too. Like, we're mirrors. You know what I mean? Like, you spend a lot of time with me in here, whether we're training together or whether you're seeing me training with pros or amateurs or even like the young kid today. Like, you get to see it on all levels.
Yeah,
you know
it's beautiful to see, you know?
I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. It's funny, before you came and reached out to me like to do my videography and stuff for me, I'm like, yo, I need a videographer. And then boom, you came, and the way you shot it, I was like, yeah, this is the guy. Like,
yeah, I truly think like what it's meant to be will be, because like how I even like found you and then how we started, like, it just happened so naturally.
Yeah,
to me, like,
yeah. I was having a conversation with somebody actually the other night, and I was like, you got to start listening to life.
Yeah.
You know, you'll say you'll want something, and then somebody will come with that opportunity.
And it happens.
Or come with that thing, and you have to be able to listen to life. Beautiful reference just came to mind. You ever watched remember The Matrix 1? Remember when he woke up from his dream in the beginning, and Trinity told him, like, follow the white rabbit.
Oh yeah.
And then the girl came to the door with the other guy, and the girl had the rabbit tattoo.
Yeah.
And he wasn't gonna go out, and he remembered, like, follow the white rabbit, and there's a white rabbit. Like, we gotta be able to listen to life like that.
Yeah.
Like, life and God sends you messages through people and signs. It's not going to be the way you want it. You have to be attentive.
Yeah.
You got to be present in that moment. No matter what you're going to do, you got to be present. And then God will send you the message, but it's subtle.
Yeah.
It's subtle. It's like through a DM or like through somebody, like, or the way me and you linked up. Like, it's small things. You got to be able to take that step of faith in that direction and just let it happen. So just let it happen.
It's actually like, it's crazy how life works. Yo.
Yeah. When it's like it's like all you need to do is figure out, okay, this is where I am, this is where I want to go, this is what I desire, vision it, and then just trust the process and slowly work toward it. Because in the between where you are and where you want to be, there are two things. It's either everything around you is either bringing you closer, bringing you further, or distracting you.
Yeah.
Once you figure that out, okay, this is where I am, this is where I want to go. Every decision that you make in between should be based on, is this bringing me closer?
Yeah.
Is it bringing me further, or is it distracting me?
Yeah.
You understand? People around you should be bringing you closer. Even if somebody inspiring you, even if it's your girl pushing you, even if it's something outside of you bringing you closer, or even somebody else coming to train with you. Like, there's been so many times on my journey where I'm like, is this for me? And then boom, I'll get like a message from somebody and like, yo, they want to come train, and they train with me. And I just get into this flow state with them, and they're like, bro, like,
I'm where I'm supposed to be.
They're like, yo, this is it. They're like, this is where I want to train. Like, you're the guy. Like, it's those things. You got to listen to life.
Yeah.
Right? Because, again, life will send you a message like that. There'll come a time where you're like, yo, videography, like, cutting hair, and then boom, you'll cut a man's hair, and he's like, yo, bro, your haircut.
Yeah. Wow. That happened to me just recently.
You have to listen to those things, because that's life affirming what it is that you're doing. Do you understand? Because you won't always get it. It might be months before you get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I affirmed my purpose just based on wins, I would already be gone.
Yeah.
That was one thing. I'm like, I'm going to lose more fights than I win. My guys are going to lose more fights than they're going to win. Like, that's why I don't chase the W.
Yeah.
I chase the performance. I chase how they're growing as a
Because every loss is a lesson, and it'll make you better.
Every loss is a lesson. You know what I mean? So it's like, how is this person developing as a person as opposed to a fighter? And then I know I'm good. And then I know I'm doing the right thing. That's what matters to me. You know what I mean? So we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We're doing stuff like this and enjoying it, bro.
Right.
You know?
Got to enjoy the process.
Yes, sir.
Like, what's it? You gotta enjoy the journey more than the destination. You'll get further.
You'll get further. Because then what happens if you get to exactly where you want right now? You get it all right now. What's next?
Exactly. Yeah.
I always tell people, like, I always use artists as a reference. What if your record blows up today? Boom, worldwide, 3 billion streams. Everyone knows your name, where you're from. Your Instagram blows up, your Facebook blows up, your music blows up. Everyone wants you. What's next?
Yeah.
If you're not prepared for what's next, if you're not prepared for that kind of publicity and those kind of comments and people's having all eyes on you and opinions, good, bad, or whatever, if you're not ready for that and you're not ready for what's next,
You're gonna crack under pressure.
You're gonna crack under pressure. So you got to be able to build throughout that time. And that's what life does to you. It builds you over time like this.
Yeah.
And then, boom, opportunity. I think Nipsey said his best. When opportunity meets preparation is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And I always tell myself, I'm like, yo, I know there's gonna be an opportunity that comes my way that changes everything.
Yeah.
And I just have to believe that I will be prepared in that moment when that opportunity comes. When opportunity knocks, you better get up, open the door, buzz that person in, bring him in, sit him down, have coffee with him, because you don't know when the next one's coming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This was a really good talk, a really good podcast.
Yeah, I forgot we were actually.
Yeah.
This is legit how we talk in the gym, whether there's people around. Like, you have to be in the gym to really understand, like, this is legit how we talk.
Yeah, that's why I had to get you on a podcast. You have these talks on the regular.
We have these talks on a regular basis, so it's dope to get it, like, on camera, you know what I mean? Like, I appreciate you always, JP.
Right, thank you. Any final words you want to say to the people out there?
Not any final words. No, that's a lie. I always have something to say. Always remember that what started your journey isn't always what continues it. As in, your motivations change, and sometimes you got to be able to sit back and take stock of where you are and remind yourself where you want to go, and your motivations and your inspirations will change. Your motives might change, but your destination shouldn't. Your journey will be this, right? But always what starts you isn't always what finishes you, but you always got to finish. That's all.
Right, thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank you, JP.
Right, much love, guys. Till the next one.
We out. Bye.